Admiral Tejo stood on the bridge of the warship Iron Will. He looked out at the stars through the large window. Everything was quiet. Everything was peaceful. He had no idea that his life was about to change forever. The communication officer turned around in his chair. His face was pale. His hands were shaking. "Sir," the young man said, "we are receiving an emergency signal from Nova 7. Tejo felt his heart stop for a moment. Nova 7 was a human colony on the edge of known space. It was a small world with green forests and blue oceans. 40,000 people lived there. Farmers, teachers, children. His sister Hana was one of them. "Put it on screen," Tejo ordered. The large screen at the front of the bridge came to life. At first, there was only static. Then the image became clear. Tejo wished it had stayed unclear. Fire. Everything was on fire. Buildings were burning. Trees were burning. People were running and screaming. In the sky above them, massive ships blocked out the sun. They were dark, purple in color. They had sharp edges like knives. Tejo recognized them immediately. The Vrel. The Vrel were one of the oldest species in the galaxy. They had been traveling among the stars when humans were still living in caves. They believed they were superior to all other life forms. They looked at humans the same way humans looked at insects. On the screen, Vrel soldiers marched through the burning streets of Nova 7. They were tall creatures with gray skin and 4 arms. Their eyes were black and empty. They carried weapons that shot beams of red light. Every beam that hit a human turned them to ash in seconds. A woman appeared on screen. She was running toward the camera. Her clothes were torn. Her face was covered in dirt and blood. She was holding a small child in her arms. "Please," she screamed. "Someone help us. They came without warning. They are killing everyone. Please." A red beam hit her from behind. She and the child disappeared in a flash of light. Only ash remained. Tejo could not move. He could not breathe. He watched as his people died. He watched as the Vrel burned everything humanity had built on that small, peaceful world. "Sir," the communication officer said. His voice was breaking. "We are receiving a video message. It is marked personal. It is for you." Tejo closed his eyes for a moment. He knew what this was. He knew who it was from. "Play it," he said quietly. The screen changed. His sister Hana appeared. She was in her small house. Through the window behind her, he could see the purple ships arriving in the sky. She was crying, but she was trying to smile for him. "Tejo," she said. "Big brother. I do not have much time. They are here. The Vrel are here. I do not know why they came. We did nothing wrong. We were just living our lives." She paused. She wiped her tears with the back of her hand. "I am not going to make it. I know that. But I want you to know that I am not afraid. I lived a good life. I was happy here. I had friends. I had a garden. I had everything I wanted." The ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Hana looked toward the window. The ships were getting closer. "I need you to promise me something," she continued quickly. "Do not let them get away with this. Do not let the galaxy forget what happened here. 40,000 people lived on this world. We had dreams. We had families. We mattered. Make them remember us. Make them pay." The door behind her exploded. Gray figures with 4 arms rushed in. Hana turned back to the camera one last time. "I love you, brother. Goodbye." The screen went black. Tejo stood perfectly still. The bridge was silent. Every officer was looking at him. They were waiting to see what he would do. He felt something inside him break. It was something soft. Something gentle. Something human. In its place, something new was growing. Something cold. Something hard. Something dangerous. "How many survivors?" he asked. His voice was calm and flat. "None, sir," the communication officer replied. "The Vrel destroyed everything. They did not take prisoners. They did not show mercy. 40,000 dead. 40,000. The number echoed in Tejo's mind. 40,000 innocent people. Gone in a single afternoon. Burned to ash by creatures who saw them as nothing more than pests. Send a message to Earth Command, Tejo said. Tell them what happened. Send them all the footage, every second of it. I want every human in the galaxy to see what the Vrel did today. Yes, sir, the officer said. Tejo turned to leave the bridge. He stopped at the door and looked back at his crew. The Galactic Council will call this an incident, he said. They will tell us to remain calm. They will tell us to seek peace. They will tell us that revenge is not the answer. He paused. His eyes were cold. They are wrong. In the hours that followed, the news spread across human space like wildfire. People watched the footage of Nova 7 burning. They saw the Vrel soldiers killing civilians without mercy. They heard the screams of the dying. They saw the woman and child turn to ash. On Earth, millions gathered in the streets. They held signs with the names of the dead. They demanded justice. They demanded blood. In the colonies, workers stopped working. Soldiers made silent promises. Scientists began thinking about weapons that had been forbidden. The rules of the galaxy no longer mattered. The Vrel had made sure of that. The Galactic Council sent a message to Earth. They expressed their deep concern about the unfortunate events at Nova 7. They promised a full investigation. They asked humanity to remain patient and trust in the process. Nobody trusted the process. Everyone knew the truth. The Council did not care about human lives. To them, 40,000 dead humans was a small matter. An inconvenience. A footnote in the history of the galaxy. Admiral Tejo received orders to return to Earth. The Council wanted to discuss the situation. They wanted to find a peaceful solution. They wanted humanity to accept what had happened and move on. Tejo read the orders. He crumpled the paper in his hand. Moving on was not possible. Not anymore. The Vrel had taken everything from him. They had taken his sister. They had taken his peace. They had taken his faith in the galaxy. Now he would take everything from them. He walked to the window of his quarters and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Vrel were celebrating their victory. They thought they had taught humanity a lesson. They thought they had shown the young species their place in the universe. They were wrong. Humanity had learned a lesson that day. But it was not the lesson the Vrel intended. Humanity learned that the galaxy was cruel. They learned that mercy was a weakness. They learned that the only law that mattered was the law of strength. The Vrel had 40,000 reasons to be afraid. They just did not know it yet. Tejo touched the window with his fingertips. His reflection stared back at him. He barely recognized himself. The man he had been that morning was gone. The man who stood there now was someone new, someone darker, someone capable of terrible things. I promise, Hana, he whispered to the stars. I will make them remember. I will make them pay. Every single one of them. The iron will turned toward Earth. The engines hummed with power. The crew worked in silence. They all knew that something had changed. The galaxy would never be the same. War was coming, and humanity would not lose. The Galactic Council building floated in the center of neutral space. It was a massive station shaped like a ring. Inside that ring, the 12 most powerful species in the galaxy gathered to make decisions. They called themselves the Keepers of Peace. They believed they controlled the destiny of every living creature among the stars. Ambassador Somi stepped off her shuttle and onto the cold metal floor of the docking bay. She was a small woman with short black hair and sharp eyes. She wore a simple black suit. No jewelry, no decorations. She did not need them. Her reputation spoke louder than any medal ever could. 2 guards from the council waited for her. They were Tauren, a species known for their blue skin and peaceful nature. They bowed politely. Ambassador Somi, one of them said. The council is waiting for you. Please follow us. Somi nodded and walked with them. She did not speak. She was thinking about what she had to do today. The council had summoned humanity to answer for their aggressive behavior following the Nova 7 massacre. They wanted humans to apologize. They wanted humans to promise peace. They had no idea what they were really asking for. The main chamber of the council was enormous. 12 elevated platforms surrounded a central floor. On each platform sat representatives from a different species. The Vrel were there, of course. Their ambassador sat with his forearms crossed, looking down at the humans with obvious disgust. Somi walked to the center of the floor. She stood alone. A single human woman, facing the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The head of the council was an ancient creature called the Prime Speaker. He belonged to the Eldari species. They were the oldest civilization in known space. They had lived for millions of years. They believed this gave them the right to judge everyone else. Ambassador Somi, the Prime Speaker said. His voice was deep and slow. You have been summoned to address the Council regarding the events at Nova 7 and humanity's response to them. I am here, Somi replied simply. The Council has reviewed the situation. The Prime Speaker continued. We acknowledge that the loss of life at Nova 7 was unfortunate. However, we must consider the larger picture. The Vrel Empire is a founding member of this council. They have contributed greatly to galactic stability for thousands of years. Somi said nothing. She waited. The council has decided that this incident should be treated as a misunderstanding, the Prime Speaker announced. The Vrel have agreed to pay compensation to the families of the deceased. In return, humanity must accept a formal truce and abandon any plans for military action. Murmurs of agreement came from the other platforms. The alien representatives nodded their heads and made sounds of approval. They had already decided what would happen. This meeting was just a performance. Furthermore, the Prime Speaker added, humanity must reduce its military presence in the outer sectors by 50%. This will help ease tensions and show good faith. Somi raised an eyebrow. Let me understand this clearly. The Vrel murdered 40,000 innocent civilians. Men, women, children. They burned an entire colony to the ground. And the Council's response is to ask us to weaken ourselves? We are asking you to choose peace, the Prime Speaker replied. You are asking us to accept our own destruction, Somi said calmly. If we reduce our military, the Vrel will attack again. Everyone in this room knows that. The Vrel ambassador laughed. It was a cold, ugly sound. The humans think they are important, he said. They think their little lives matter. How amusing. You are insects. You should be grateful we only destroyed one colony. Accept the truce, little ambassador, or we will destroy more. Silence filled the chamber. The other species looked uncomfortable. But none of them spoke against the Vrel. They were afraid. They had always been afraid. Somi smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Tell me, she said to the Vrel ambassador, do you know how long humanity has existed as a species? 200,000 years, approximately, the ambassador replied with boredom. A heartbeat compared to true civilizations. And in those 200,000 years, Somi continued, do you know what we have done? We have fought wars that lasted generations. We have survived plagues that killed half our population. We have climbed out of darkness again and again. Every time someone tried to destroy us, we came back stronger. She paused and looked around the chamber at all 12 species. You call us young. You call us primitive. But you are afraid of us. I can see it in your eyes. You have lived so long that you have forgotten what it means to fight for survival. You have grown soft and comfortable. You think your rules and councils will protect you forever. The Prime Speaker raised his hand. Ambassador, this is not productive. The Council has made its decision. You will accept the truce or face consequences. What consequences? Somi asked. Will you attack us? Will you burn more of our colonies? Go ahead. Try it. See what happens. The chamber erupted in angry voices. The alien representatives shouted at each other and at Somi. The Prime Speaker called for order. But no one listened. Through all the chaos, Somi stood perfectly still. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small device. It was a communication transmitter. "Before I came here," she said loudly, cutting through the noise, "I had a conversation with Earth Command. We discussed what we would do if the Council demanded our surrender. We made a plan." The chamber went quiet. Everyone was watching her now. "I told them to wait for my signal," Somi continued. "If the Council showed us justice, I would send one message. If the Council betrayed us, I would send a different message." She held up the transmitter. "Would you like to know what message I am about to send?" The Vrel ambassador stood up. "You would not dare. You are bluffing. Humanity does not have the power to challenge the Council." "Drawn 4. Maybe not," Somi agreed. "But we have enough power to challenge you." She pressed a button on the transmitter. A single word was sent across the stars to Fleet Commander Jiho, who was waiting with 300 warships in the darkness of deep space. The word was, "Proceed." "What did you do?" the Prime Speaker demanded. "What message did you send?" Somi put the transmitter back in her pocket. "I sent our answer to your demand. Humanity does not accept truces with murderers. We do not bow to those who slaughter our children. We do not forgive. We do not forget." She turned to face the Vrel ambassador directly. "You burned Nova 7. You killed 40,000 of my people. You thought we would accept it because we are small and young and weak. You were wrong." The ambassador's black eyes showed something new. "Fear. In a few hours," Somi said, "our fleet will arrive at your homeworld. They carry weapons that your ships cannot stop. They carry soldiers who are not afraid to die. They carry the anger of every human who watched Nova 7 burn. The Council will not allow this," the Prime Speaker shouted. "We will intervene. We will stop your fleet." Somi turned to him. "Will you? Will any of you risk your own worlds to save the Vrel? Will you sacrifice your children to protect the monsters who murdered ours?" Silence. None of the other species spoke. None of them moved. They were thinking about their own planets, their own families. They did not care about the Vrel. They had never cared about anyone but themselves. "I thought not," Somi said. She walked toward the exit of the chamber. Every eye followed her. "Ambassador," the Prime Speaker called out. "This is madness. You will start a war that could destroy everything." Somi stopped at the door. She looked back at the Council one last time. "We did not start this war. The Vrel did when they killed innocent people who only wanted to live in peace. Now they will learn what happens when you make humanity your enemy." She stepped through the door and disappeared. Behind her, the Council erupted in chaos. Representatives screamed at each other. The Vrel ambassador shouted orders into his communicator, trying to warn his homeworld. The Prime Speaker called for emergency meetings and peacekeeping forces. But it was too late. The message had been sent. The fleet was moving. Humanity had made its choice. They chose retaliation. Fleet Commander Jiho sat in his command chair aboard the flagship Thunder of Earth. Around him, the bridge crew worked in focused silence. Screens showed data from 300 warships floating in the darkness of empty space. They had been waiting here for 3 days, waiting for the signal. Jiho was an older man, with gray hair, and a face marked by decades of service. He had fought in border conflicts. He had protected colonies from pirates. He had done everything the military asked of him without question. But this mission was different. This mission was personal. His nephew had lived on Nova 7. A young boy named Junho, just 8 years old. He loved to collect rocks and dream about being a pilot someday. Now he was gone, turned to ash by Vrel weapons along with everyone else. The communication console beeped. Jiho's eyes moved to the screen. One word appeared: proceed. He let out a slow breath. So the Council had betrayed them. He was not surprised. He had expected nothing less from the cowards who ruled the galaxy. "Attention all ships," Jiho said into the fleet-wide channel. "This is Fleet Commander Jiho. We have received authorization from Earth Command. Operation Thunder is now active. Prepare for hyperspace jump in 10 minutes. Across 300 ships, crews began final preparations. Weapons were loaded. Shields were activated. Pilots strapped themselves into their fighters. Everyone knew what was coming. Everyone was ready. Captain Yuna walked onto the bridge. She was the second in command of the Thunder of Earth. She was young for her rank, but she had earned it through skill and courage. Her eyes were hard as stone. "The fleet is ready, Commander," she reported. "All ships confirm battle readiness." "Good," Jiho replied. "What is the status of the special weapons?" Yuna checked her tablet. Project Sunfire is fully operational. All 12 devices are loaded on the designated carriers. They can be deployed within minutes of our arrival. Project Sunfire. The name sounded almost beautiful. The reality was anything but. When Earth learned about Nova 7, the military had unlocked research that had been banned for generations. Scientists worked day and night to create something that would make the Vrel pay. They succeeded. The Sunfire devices were planet killers. Each one could turn an entire world into a ball of fire. They were never supposed to exist. Humanity had promised never to build such weapons. But promises meant nothing when your children were burned alive. "Commander," the sensor officer said, "I am detecting a Vrel patrol ship approximately 2 light-years from our position. They have not seen us yet." "Ignore them," Jiho ordered. "They cannot stop us. Nothing can stop us now." He stood up from his chair and walked to the front of the bridge. Through the large window, he could see hundreds of ships waiting in formation. Each one carried humans who had lost someone at Nova 7. Friends, family, lovers, children. Every person in this fleet had a reason to fight. "I want to address the fleet," Jiho said. "Open a channel to all ships. Audio and visual." "Channel open, Commander." Jiho straightened his uniform and looked directly at the camera. "Warriors of Earth," he began. "Today we do something that has never been done before. Today we strike back against those who thought they could hurt us without consequence. Today we show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of." On hundreds of ships, thousands of humans stopped to listen. 3 weeks ago, the Vrel Empire destroyed Nova 7. They killed 40,000 innocent people. Men and women who just wanted to live their lives. Children who never got the chance to grow up. They died because the Vrel see us as insects. They died because we were considered too weak to matter. Jiho's voice grew stronger. "The Galactic Council asked us to accept a truce. They asked us to forgive the murder of our families. They asked us to bow down and accept our place as second-class beings in this universe. Ambassador Somi gave them our answer. Now we will deliver that answer directly to the Vrel homeworld." He paused to let the words sink in. "I will not lie to you. This mission is dangerous. Many of us may not come back. The Vrel have powerful ships and strong defenses. But we have something they do not have. We have rage. We have unity. We have the determination of a species that will not accept extinction." Across the fleet, soldiers nodded and clenched their fists. "When we arrive at the Vrel homeworld, we will give them one chance to surrender. If they refuse, we will destroy everything they have built. Their cities, their ships, their future. We will show them the same mercy they showed Nova 7. None." Jiho's eyes burned with cold fire. "This is not just a battle. This is a message to every species in the galaxy. Humanity is not your victim. Humanity is not your prey. We will fight. We will bleed. We will die if necessary. But we will never, ever submit." He raised his fist. "For Nova 7. For Earth. For every human who ever lived. Today we make history. Today we make them pay." The channel closed. For a moment, there was silence. Then, from every ship in the fleet, a roar of approval echoed through space. Humans cheered and shouted, and promised vengeance. Captain Yuna approached Jiho. "That was a good speech, Commander." "It was the truth," Jiho replied. "Nothing more. Do you really think we can win this? The Vrel have been fighting wars for millions of years. We have only been in space for a few centuries." Jiho smiled grimly. "The Vrel have been conquering weak species for millions of years. They have never fought anyone who truly challenged them. They do not know what real war looks like. We do. War is in our blood. It is our greatest shame and our greatest strength. The countdown timer on the main screen reached 0. All ships, Jiho announced. Jump to hyperspace. Destination: Vrel homeworld. 300 ships activated their engines at the same time. Space itself seemed to bend around them. Then, in a flash of light, they were gone. For hours, the fleet traveled through hyperspace. Soldiers checked their weapons one more time. Pilots reviewed their attack patterns. Engineers made sure every system was working perfectly. Everyone prepared for battle in their own way. Jiho spent the journey in his quarters, looking at a picture of his nephew Junho. The boy was smiling in the photo, holding a rock he had found near his home on Nova 7. He said it looked like a spaceship. "I am sorry I could not protect you," Jiho whispered to the picture. "But I can avenge you. I will make sure your death means something. I will make sure the galaxy never forgets." A knock came at his door. Captain Yuna entered. "Commander, we will exit hyperspace in 5 minutes." Jiho put the picture away and stood up. "Then let us begin." They returned to the bridge together. The main screen showed the countdown to arrival. Tension filled the air. Every officer was at their station, ready for action. Exiting hyperspace in 3, 2, 1. 2. The stars stretched and twisted. Then everything snapped back to normal. There it was. The Vrel homeworld. A massive planet covered in purple clouds and dark oceans. Thousands of satellites orbited around it. Hundreds of defense stations floated in space. And beyond them, a fleet of Vrel warships that outnumbered the humans 2-1. "Report," Jiho ordered. "Enemy ships are scrambling," the sensor officer said. "They were not expecting us. Their formation is chaotic." "Good. Open a channel to the Vrel command. Let them hear what we have to say." The channel opened. On the screen appeared a Vrel admiral with golden markings on his gray skin. He looked angry and confused. "Humans," he shouted. "How dare you come here? This is an act of war. The Council will destroy you for this." Jiho stood tall and faced the alien with no fear. "Admiral, I am Fleet Commander Jiho of the Earth Defense Force. We are here to deliver humanity's response to the massacre at Nova 7. You have 1 hour to surrender, unconditionally. If you refuse, we will begin our attack." The Vrel admiral laughed. "You are outnumbered. You have no chance. Your pathetic fleet will be crushed." "Perhaps," Jiho agreed calmly. "But before you destroy us, we will destroy you. We carry weapons that can end your entire civilization. Surrender now, and your people may survive. Fight us, and you will burn just like Nova 7. The admiral's laughter stopped. Something in Jiho's voice told him this was not a bluff. You would not." 1 hour, Jiho repeated. "Choose wisely." He cut the channel and turned to his crew. "Prepare all weapons. Launch fighter squadrons. If they do not surrender in 1 hour, we show them what humanity is made of." The clock started ticking. The final countdown had begun. The hour passed. The Vrel did not surrender. Fleet Commander Jiho watched the enemy ships forming into attack patterns. They were confident. They believed their numbers would crush the small human fleet. They had no idea what was coming. "The hour is over," Captain Yuna announced. No response from the Vrel command. Jiho nodded slowly. Part of him had hoped they would surrender. Not because he wanted to spare them, but because he knew what the next few hours would cost. Human lives, human ships, human souls. But there was no going back now. "All ships," Jiho said into the fleet channel. "The enemy has refused our offer. Begin attack. Show no mercy." 300 human warships surged forward. Their engines burned bright blue against the darkness of space. Weapons charged with deadly energy. The largest battle in human history was about to begin. The Vrel opened fire first. Red beams shot across space, slamming into human shields. The ship Braveheart took a direct hit. Its shields held, but just barely. Two smaller cruisers were not so lucky. They exploded in balls of orange flame. "Return fire," Jiho commanded. Human weapons answered. Blue missiles streaked toward the Vrel fleet. Laser cannons cut through the void. Railguns launched metal projectiles at incredible speed. The first Vrel ship to fall was a destroyer named Dark Fang. It split in half and burned. The battle spread across thousands of kilometers. Ships danced and spun, trying to find good angles for attack. Explosions lit up space like deadly fireworks. Communications channels filled with shouting voices, battle reports, and cries for help. On the bridge of the Thunder of Earth, Jiho watched everything unfold on the tactical display. Red dots were Vrel ships. Blue dots were human ships. Too many of both were disappearing. "Commander!" the tactical officer shouted. "Enemy capital ships are targeting our carriers. They know we have the Sunfire weapons. Protect those carriers at all costs." Jiho ordered. "Send battle groups Delta and Echo to reinforce them." Captain Yuna moved to his side. "We are losing ships faster than expected. At this rate, we will be destroyed before we can deploy Sunfire." Then we need to change the rate," Jiho replied. "Prepare the Thunder for a direct assault on the enemy flagship. If we take down their command, their formation will break." Yuna's eyes widened. "Sir, that is suicide. Their flagship has the strongest shields in their fleet." "I did not say it would be easy, Captain. I said it needs to be done." The Thunder of Earth broke away from the main formation. Its engines pushed to maximum power. The massive warship charged directly toward the heart of the Vrel fleet. Enemy ships turned to intercept. Beams of red light hammered the Thunder's shields. Warning alarms screamed across the bridge. But the ship kept moving forward. "Forward weapons! Fire everything!" Jiho shouted. The Thunder unleashed its full arsenal. Missiles burst from launch tubes in waves. Laser batteries fired so fast they looked like solid beams of light. Railgun rounds tore through enemy cruisers like paper. A Vrel battleship moved to block their path. The Thunder did not slow down. Instead, it rammed the enemy vessel at full speed. The collision shattered both ships' shields. The Vrel battleship cracked down the middle. The Thunder pushed through the wreckage, damaged but still fighting. "Hull breach on decks, 7 through 12, an officer reported. "Shields at 30%. "Keep going," Jiho commanded. Ahead of them, the Vrel flagship waited. It was enormous, 3 times the size of the Thunder. Its weapons covered every surface like deadly thorns. It was called the Eternal Dominion, and it had never been defeated in battle. Until today, the Thunder opened fire with everything it had left. The Eternal Dominion fired back. The space between them became a storm of energy and metal. Both ships took terrible damage. Both ships refused to retreat. On the Thunder's bridge, an explosion threw Jiho from his chair. He hit the floor hard. Blood ran down his face from a cut on his forehead. Around him, officers struggled to stay at their stations. "Status," he demanded, pulling himself back up. "Weapons at 50%, Yuna reported. Her arm was burned, but she ignored the pain. "Shields are gone. Engines failing. And the flagship? Damaged. Their shields are down, but they are still firing." Jiho looked at the screen. The Eternal Dominion was wounded but alive. And behind it, the Vrel homeworld waited. "Ram them," Jiho said. The bridge went silent. Every officer turned to look at their commander. "Sir?" Yuna asked. "You heard me. Set collision course with the enemy flagship. Maximum speed. Commander? That will destroy both ships. Everyone aboard will die." "I know." Jiho looked at his crew. "I am not ordering anyone to stay. Anyone who wants to leave can take the escape pods. But I am finishing this mission. That ship dies today." Nobody moved toward the escape pods. Nobody left their station. "We are with you, Commander," Yuna said quietly. "All of us." Jiho felt something warm in his chest. Pride. Love. Gratitude for these brave humans who were willing to die beside him. "Then let us make history," he said. "All a head full." The thunder of Earth accelerated toward the Eternal Dominion. The Vrel flagship fired desperately, but it could not stop the human ship. The gap closed. 1,000 meters. 500. 100. At the last second, a message came through from one of the carriers. "Commander, Sunfire weapons are deployed. All 12 devices are in position." Jiho smiled. It was done. Even if he died here, the mission would succeed. The thunder of Earth crashed into the Eternal Dominion. The impact was catastrophic. Both ships crumpled like toys. Fire consumed everything. The Vrel flagship, pride of their empire, broke apart and died. But Jiho did not die with it. In the final seconds before impact, Captain Yuna had pushed him into an emergency escape pod and launched it. He screamed in protest, but it was too late. The pod shot away from the doomed ship, carrying him to safety whether he wanted it or not. He watched through the small window as the thunder of Earth ended its long service in a blaze of glory. He watched his crew, his friends, his family die so that he could live. "Yuna," he whispered. "Why?" The pod drifted in space, surrounded by the wreckage of battle. Human ships and Vrel ships floated together, destroyed enemies united in death. Then the Sunfire weapons activated. 12 points of light appeared above the Vrel homeworld. They were small at first, like new stars being born. Then, they grew. And grew. And grew. The devices released energy directly into the planet's atmosphere. The clouds caught fire. The oceans boiled. The cities that had stood for millions of years burned in seconds. From his escape pod, Jiho watched the Vrel homeworld die. He watched billions of aliens burn just like the 40,000 humans had burned on Nova 7. He felt no joy. He felt no satisfaction. He only felt empty. But it was justice. Cold, terrible, necessary justice. The surviving Vrel ships stopped fighting. They watched in horror as their world was destroyed. Their weapons fell silent. Their will to fight disappeared. Everything they had ever known was gone. "Attention all Vrel vessels," a human voice announced over open channels. "Your homeworld is gone. Your fleet is defeated. Surrender now, or join them." One by one, the Vrel ships lowered their shields and powered down their weapons. They had no choice. They had nothing left to fight for. The battle was over. Humanity had won, but the cost was terrible. Of 300 ships, only 112 remained. Thousands of humans had died in the fighting. The thunder of Earth was destroyed, along with its entire crew. A rescue ship found Jiho's pod floating among the debris. They brought him aboard and treated his wounds. When he woke up, the fleet's new commanding officer was waiting beside his bed. "Commander Jiho," the young woman said, "the battle is won. What are your orders?" Jiho stared at the ceiling for a long moment. He thought about Yuna. He thought about his nephew Junho. He thought about the 40,000 dead of Nova 7. "Secure the system," he said finally. "Take the surviving Vrel as prisoners. And send a message to every species in the galaxy. Tell them what happened here. Tell them what we did. Tell them why." He closed his eyes. "Make sure they understand. This is what happens when you hurt humanity." 17 days. That is how long it took for the Vrel Empire to fall completely. After their homeworld burned, the remaining Vrel colonies surrendered one by one. They had no leadership. They had no hope. They had watched their greatest ships destroyed by a species they considered insects. Their pride was shattered. Their empire was dust. Admiral Tejo stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the Hana's Memory, named after his sister. He was now the supreme commander of all human military forces. The title felt heavy on his shoulders, but he carried it without complaint. Someone had to lead humanity through what came next. "Sir," his communication officer said, "the Galactic Council has requested your presence. They want to discuss the future." Tejo smiled coldly. Of course they did. When humanity was weak, the Council ignored them. Now that humanity had proven its strength, Everyone wanted to talk. "Tell them I will attend," Tejo replied. "But I will bring an escort." The escort was 50 warships. They jumped into the space around the council station and took position in a wide circle. Their weapons were charged but not aimed at anyone. Yet, the message was clear. Humanity was no longer asking for permission. Tejo took a shuttle to the station. He walked the same halls that Ambassador Somi had walked weeks before. But everything was different now. The alien guards looked at him with fear instead of contempt. Representatives from other species stepped aside when he approached. The main chamber was waiting for him. All 12 species were present, including the empty platform where the Vrel representative used to sit. Nobody sat there now. Nobody would ever sit there again. The prime speaker looked older than before. His ancient face showed stress and worry. When he spoke, his voice was not as confident as it used to be. "Admiral Tejo," he began, "you have been summoned to address the Council regarding the destruction of the Vrel Empire and the implications for galactic peace." Tejo walked to the center of the floor. He did not wait for permission to speak. "Let me save you some time," he said. "I know what you want. You want me to apologize. You want me to promise that humanity will be peaceful and obedient from now on. You want everything to go back to the way it was." He looked around at the 12 species watching him. "That is not going to happen." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The representatives shifted uncomfortably on their platforms. "The Vrel murdered 40,000 innocent humans," Tejo continued. "They burned our colony and laughed about it. When we came to you for justice, you told us to accept a truce. You told us to forgive the murderers. You treated our dead like they were nothing." His voice grew harder. "So we took justice for ourselves. We showed the Vrel the same mercy they showed Nova 7. None. Their empire is gone. Their homeworld is ash. Billions of them are dead, and I do not regret a single moment of it." "This is barbaric," one of the representatives shouted. "You committed genocide. You are monsters." Tejo turned to face the speaker. It was the representative of the Kel, a species known for their 4 eyes and superior attitude. "We are monsters?" Tejo asked softly. "Interesting. Tell me, representative, what did your species do when the Vrel attacked Nova 7? What did any of you do?" Silence. "You did nothing," Tejo answered his own question. "You sat in your comfortable chairs and debated politics, while our people burned. You valued galactic stability over human lives. You chose the Vrel over us." He pointed at the empty Vrel platform. "Look at what your choice got you. Your precious stability is gone. The Vrel are gone. And now you have to deal with a humanity that no longer trusts any of you." The prime speaker raised his hands. "Admiral, please. We understand that mistakes were made. The Council is willing to offer humanity full membership with equal voting rights. We can work together to build a better future." "Full membership?" Tejo laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "You offer us membership now? After everything that happened? How generous. How kind. How completely meaningless." He stepped closer to the prime speaker's platform. "Let me tell you what is going to happen. Humanity will not join your council. We do not need your approval. We do not need your protection. We do not need anything from you." "Then what do you want?" the prime speaker asked. Tejo considered the question carefully. "I want you to remember," he said. "I want every species in this galaxy to remember what happened to the Vrel. They thought they could hurt humanity without consequences. They were wrong, dead wrong." He turned to address the entire chamber. "We are not your enemies. We have no desire to conquer or destroy. All we ever wanted was to live in peace. But if anyone threatens that peace, if anyone attacks our people, if anyone makes us bleed again, we will respond the same way we responded to the Vrel." He let the words sink in. "We will burn your worlds. We will destroy your fleets. We will end your civilizations. And we will do it without hesitation, without mercy, and without regret. Because that is the lesson you taught us. That is the galaxy you created." The chamber was absolutely silent. Every alien in the room was imagining their own homeworld in flames, their own people turned to ash, their own empires reduced to nothing. There will be no more massacres like Nova 7, Tejo continued. Not against humanity. Not against anyone. Because now everyone knows the price. The price is everything. He started walking toward the exit. Wait, the Prime Speaker called out. What about the surviving Vrel? Millions of them still live on colony worlds. What will you do with them? Tejo stopped. He thought about it for a moment. They will be allowed to live, he said finally. They will rebuild. If they can. But they will never threaten anyone again. We will make sure of that. That is surprisingly merciful, the Prime Speaker said. Tejo looked back at him. We are not monsters. We never were. We just needed to show you that we could be, if necessary. The Vrel forced our hand. They made us become something terrible, but we do not want to stay that way. He paused at the door. We want peace. Real peace. The kind where everyone respects everyone else. The kind where 40,000 people do not die just because they were human. If you can give us that kind of peace, we will be the best allies you have ever had. If you cannot. He did not finish the sentence. He did not need to. Tejo left the chamber. His shuttle returned him to the Hana's memory. The fleet jumped back to human space. In the months that followed, the galaxy changed. The other species became very careful about their relations with humanity. Trade agreements were signed. Diplomatic channels were opened. Respect was shown. No one attacked a human colony ever again. No one dared. Admiral Tejo eventually retired. He went to live on a new planet that humans had colonized. They named it New Nova, in memory of those who died. He spent his days helping build the new settlement. He planted trees. He taught children. He tried to find peace. One evening, he sat on a hill overlooking the valley. The sun was setting, painting the sky in colors of orange and pink. It reminded him of the fires he had seen. The fires on Nova 7, the fires on the Vrel homeworld. So much fire, so much death. A young girl came to sit beside him. She was about 8 years old. The same age his nephew Junho would have been. Admiral? She asked. Is it true that you saved humanity? Tejo smiled sadly. I do not know if I saved anyone. I just did what I thought was right. My teacher says you are a hero. Your teacher is kind. But heroes do not feel the way I feel. Heroes do not see the things I see when I close my eyes. The girl was quiet for a moment. Then she said, My mother told me that you burned a whole planet. Is that true? Tejo looked at her. She was so young, so innocent. She deserved a better answer than the truth. Yes, he said anyway. I did. Because bad people hurt our people first. And sometimes, to protect the ones you love, you have to do terrible things. Are you sorry? The question hit him harder than any weapon ever had. Was he sorry? He had asked himself that question every day since the war ended. He still did not have a good answer. I am sorry that it was necessary. He said finally. I am sorry that we live in a galaxy where such things happen. I am sorry that little girls have to learn about war and death instead of just playing and being happy. He put his hand on her shoulder. But I am not sorry that we survived. I am not sorry that you are here, safe and alive. If I had to do it all again to protect you and everyone else, I would. The girl nodded like she understood. Maybe she did. Children were smarter than adults gave them credit for. Thank you, Admiral, she said. For protecting us. She ran off to play with her friends. Tejo watched her go. Then he looked up at the stars that were beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere out there, the ruins of the Vrel homeworld floated in space, a warning to anyone who would threaten humanity, a monument to the cost of hatred and violence. But here, on this small planet, children were laughing. Families were building homes. Hope was growing like the trees Tejo had planted. Maybe that was enough. Maybe that was all anyone could ask for. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity had survived. And tomorrow, the sun would rise again. That was the new order of things, and Tejo prayed it would last.